Well, welcome everybody to day one of the 5 days of focus. And I have a few questions for you. And I want you to think about this for a moment. Have any of you ever had a time in your life, and maybe even most recently, where you keep going and you're going and you just can't get up the steam? You are just pooped, just can't get moving. Or how about you set too many expectations, right? You're a go-getter, you're a goal setter, and you just, at the end of the day, 90% of what you've scheduled to do, you don't get done. And you feel a little deflated about that, huh? Right? Or how about when you get overwhelmed, when there's a little bit too much work, you just want to run away and hide. Well, I know all about these things, guys. This is, if you don't know who it is, it's Gail Craft. I am a motivational speaker and empowerment coach, and I'm here to share 5 days of focus with you. The truth is, we all lose steam, right? It's just when it becomes chronic that it becomes a problem. And there are plenty of times when we set expectations, we have great intentions of achieving so much in our life, and yet we might miss the mark and miss the mark. And of course, then we get into, that runaway feeling, especially right now, where we kind of want to hibernate. You do realize that it is fall. And all of these feelings that we're talking about actually become more prevalent as winter sets in. And so, what's happening right now is some people might be doing their last ditch effort before the holiday season hits and they slow down. And, guys, what I'm here to tell you is don't slow down for a few reasons. Number one, when you slow down, you're going to have a hard time bringing up that momentum again come January, and it can be a little bit daunting. Also, if you don't slow down, those of you that are in a competitive position or even in a career where it's very important that you show up, others will slow down and you won't. It gives you an edge, and that edge can sustain you come the beginning of next year, right? While others are trying to get their momentum back up after taking literally a break, you'll be on a roll, right? So those are, one or two things that I really wanted you to be aware of. And also, very important to understand is that this program is based on things that highly successful people do every single day. You've read the books, you've done the work, you maybe have gone to motivational programs, I've chaired a few of them, I've run a few of them, I've led a few of them. And I'll tell you this, if you don't practice it every day, if you don't make it part of who you are, if you don't integrate these learnings, then, you had a good time. You met some friends, you got all excited, right? And then you went home and crashed. So let's not go home and crash. I gave you a handout, it's a cute little handout. There's not a heck of a lot in there, but we're going to spend a little bit of time on everything that we go through. And so if you don't have it, print it out right now. And for those of you who are watching this, later, it should be attached, right, to the video so that you can download it. Okay. So, so I created this 5-day program because I didn't want to lose steam this fall and this winter, and I was feeling it. I was feeling it. I just want to snuggle up. And so, I'm pushing it a little bit more than I normally would. And I'm asking you to join me and maybe achieve some surprising results. Now, understand that I'm not asking you to do more. I'm not asking for more effort at all. In fact, I might even be asking for a little bit less. It's not about effort. It's about the right effort. It is about balance. It is about mind, body, and soul. So when we talk about focus, right, it is something that everybody struggles with. And let me explain why. Okay, so we'll get into a little bit of technical detail. So, your brain is this little functioning thing, and its job is to take in information and determine what to do with that information. Here's the problem. At any given point in time, there's at least 3 billion, that's with a B, bits of information around you every day, right? There's the smells, there's the senses, there's the lights, there's the sounds. There's information abundantly around you. Now, your brain can only handle 750 bits of information. 750 versus 3 billion bits. So, what's the first thing that it does? Is it deletes information that's coming in. The second thing it does is it generalizes that information so that you can create an understanding, right? So it deletes and generalizes, right? And then it formulates a picture, if you will. So it deletes, generalizes, and it distorts the information. And the distortion occurs because of your belief system and the experiences you've had in your life. And so as a result, the things that you see and the things that I see may not actually be the same. So I am talking about learning how to focus on that 750 bits of information that is important to you. And so that if you're going to delete, you want to be sure what you're deleting is stuff that you're not focused on. And so there's practices to go through. We can also expand our peripheral vision so we can see more and make more choices or better choices. The more information you have, the better the choices available to you. So if you're ready to begin, we're going to start. Grab your printout, and we're going to start with forgive yourself. Okay. So emotionally intelligent people know that success lies in their ability to rise in the face of failure. Again, it's because you're filling in the blanks, right? So you got your blanks and you're filling them in. Emotionally intelligent people know that success lies in their ability to rise in the face of failure. Rise in the face of failure. So, what does this mean, right? Quite often, people will try something new, which I commend you for getting out there and trying something new. That is remarkable because you're right then and there dealing with fear. Congratulations. But when what you achieve or try to achieve doesn't hit the mark, your immediate response is, I failed. I'm not good enough. I'm useless. Why even try? So I want to tell you a story of one of my mentors when I was in corporate America. He was fantastic. I had some great mentors which helped me rise. I rose because of those who laid the groundwork for me. This mentor, worked in the John Hancock PNC finance department. So we would change procedures, try something new, try something better all the time. Our job was to make it better, make it better, make it better. And we did something and it failed miserably. And he came up to me and he went, well, we lost that one, didn't we? Okay, what are we going to do next? Right Number one. So we lost it. What's next? Number two, right? Number two, it is all about being sure that you have a contingency plan, right? If you're making plans, if you make plans with me, I will ask you what if questions. What if this doesn't work? What if that happens? What if that happens? How are you going to adjust and respond? Now, we cannot predict everything, guys, but if you play the what if game, then you will have some kind of cushion and you'll be able to turn on a dime and just respond. So the key is brush yourself up and get up and then respond, right? Respond. What do you want to do next? The next is when you slip up, it is critical that you forgive yourself and move on, right? So if you slip up, it's critical that you forgive yourself and move on. It is critical that you forgive yourself. We all have failed at something, at least one thing, if not more in our lives. I've learned a lot in my life because I've tried so much and have failed, and I've tried so much and I've succeeded, right? It's been both. And what I've learned to do when I've not succeeded, and I don't even say failure or not succeeded for myself, I use miss the mark. So look at it like you're in an archery contest. You see the mark that you're supposed to hit and you missed it. You missed the mark, right? So it's really, really important that you don't lay blame. And the blame game is something that we all get kind of wrapped up in very, very easily. We blame others so that we don't have to take responsibility, or we blame ourselves, right? In order to deflect other people blaming us, right? And the point is, nobody is to blame. Congratulations, you tried something. Congratulations, you have an opportunity to learn and do something different based on the results you got. It's that simple. It's not a major catastrophe. So relax and calm down and know that the good news is that you tried. The great news is that you can try something different. And the fantastic news is that you've learned something from that. Don't waste the learning. Be sure that you integrate it and say, I'll never do that again. Maybe not, or maybe you will, but I will never do that quite that way again. I will approach it this way. That's the lesson. Okay. Don't ignore how the mistakes makes you feel, right? So you feel a little bad, but shift your attention to what you're going to do next to improve your future results, which we just kind of talked about. But that is really shift your focus. If you find yourself repeating thoughts over and over again, you want to practice shifting to different thoughts and unless they are moving you forward in the direction you want to go. So here's another mind boggle game or a piece of information that 80% of the time, the thoughts that you are thinking are the same thoughts that you thought yesterday, and you think them over and over and over again. So you think of that as a record that you're putting grooves in, and the grooves are getting deeper and deeper. So you play them again and again and again. You want to play a different record every day. So, one of the things that I have people do in my Living an Endlessly Delicious Life class is to do something different, something even a little bit scary every single day. It's as simple as taking a different route to work, or going out for a walk when you don't normally go for a walk, or riding a bike instead of taking the car, or something very simple, very basic, but different than your daily routine. Shake it up, keep the juices going. That creates focus. Absolutely. So back to your page, right? When perfection is your goal, you're always left with a nagging sense of failure that makes you want to give up or reduce your effort. Perfection. I have a little story about perfection. I am an A personality. I am a recovered perfectionist or recovering perfectionist, shall I say, because I slip every once in a while. But back in the day, I had this amazing VP that I was working with. And I had a project that, it was ready to go live, but things weren't perfect. There were some workarounds that needed to be done. And so I was like fine tuning those fine details. And she came up to me and she said, Gail, I need you to wrap that project up because there are others in the queue. And so I explained to her what wasn't perfect about the project. And she looked at me and she said, will the end user's life be better than it was before you release the project? Absolutely. Will the end user's life be 80% better? And I'm like, oh, yeah. I mean, there's so much automation here that they don't have. So, Gail, the 80/20 rule, 80% is good enough. It's good enough. So, those of us who are perfectionists, that word good enough really doesn't sit well. But I'll tell you, I have learned to actually schedule things before they're ready. So this program is something that I've thought about for a while to do with folks. I scheduled the program before I even had it outlined because I have done these trainings since 2012. I've done these trainings for a very long time, right? Things of this nature. I knew it would not take me long to pull in the information I already have out there and deliver you value, right? That you could take and maybe apply to your daily life. So, for the most part, what we're talking about in this exercise or in today's program is really about knowing that you're not going to be perfect, knowing that you will fail from time to time, knowing that contingency plans are awesome. And even if you don't have them, what can you do next? And knowing that it is really important for you to forgive yourself as soon as possible from the get go. The second you start to have those negative thoughts about you or anyone else, there's no blame, there's no pointing the fingers either way. As soon as you feel that urge coming, stop. It doesn't matter. It's history. It's over. This is where we're at. What are we going to do next? Another famous line that I was given by that amazing mentor I was telling you about. Cool. We made a mistake. How do we make it better? Right now, what do we do to make it better? It's that simple. How do we make it better? So, everyone, thank you for joining me today. I want you to take a quick look at the homework assignment. So, forgiveness gives way to freeing yourself from the attachments to the past. So, take a look at the homework. We'll go through that in a moment, but I want to talk a moment about attachments, right? Right? Because attachments is you're being in when it comes to focus is being attached to expectations, being attached to what others think you should be doing, being attached to maybe an image. Attachments will bring you down every time. And attachments are, at least for me, they were the most difficult things to rid myself of, be honest, right? I loved my attachments, I will tell you. But as soon as I was able to say, it'd be cool if this happens, but it's just as cool if it doesn't. I'll survive. What's the worst thing that could happen, right? Being attached to material things, being attached to a home, being attached to things, being attached to people, being attached to your career, being attached to this identity. When you of yourself, when you are able to step away from those attachments, you're able to be free to explore more of what you're capable of doing. So this little exercise is about forgiveness, right? So make a list of everything that has happened to you and everyone who has done something to you that you can't forgive. So make a list of all those things that you can't forgive, either the people, the situations, right? Doesn't matter if you were 2 years old or if you were 50 years old, it doesn't matter. Everything that has happened to you and everyone who has done something to you that you can't forgive, right? It's like you still are angry or hurt or disillusioned, right? With someone or something. Now just choose one situation, one person, maybe one group of people who you're ready to forgive. So we're not going after those that you are just very angry at, but maybe someone that you're ready to forgive, you just haven't done it yet, right? You want to embrace them in your life, or maybe not, but at least forgive. And I'll tell you a forgiveness story in a moment. Acknowledge your feelings, acknowledge how you feel about them, and then you can virtually, right, get revenge. So on a blank piece of paper, write down what, if you were to get revenge, what that would look like, right? But virtually. We're not actually going to do that. So get it out. Now, for me, writing doesn't work. Um, truly to purge, if you will. But driving in the car and screaming and swearing does, right? Sometimes walking it off out there, stomping my feet, and blah, 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 works, right? But I'm not complaining. I am plotting how I would get back at you if I had the opportunity, right? And then I want you to ceremoniously burn the list or ceremoniously release the list. And when I say ceremoniously, I want you to say, well, that felt good. Now that that's over, we're even. Now that that's over, we're even. I am going to release whatever's left of this belief that I held in the past. I'm releasing it to the flames so that they can burn and go into nothingness. They don't exist anymore. If you don't have paper to burn, then you will release the energy. Just take that anger, and if you want to imagine it as a ball, and throw it to the sun and watch it burn in the sun. However, you want to shoot it up and watch it crystallize, shoot it down to Mother Earth and let her take care of it. Shoot it out of you. Just take shh and let it go. And then at the end of the little ceremony, you want to also say, it is over, and so it is. It is over, and so it is. Because when it's over, it's done. I won't, so I said I would give you a little example of releasing. And for me, this one was little bit out there. My first experience of it being, well, one of my experiences of it being out there. So I have some stories of disillusionment and some stories of abandonment, as many do. And the perpetrator was my mom. And there were a few things that happened from at conception through the age of 3. She died at 3. That was the ultimate abandonment. But in either case, there were residual feelings that I held that I ignored the majority of my young adult life. And I came to a point where it was time I was ready to forgive. And I ended up going into it's called the Nipi tent, and it's an Indian hot tent. It's a steam tent with a few people, a bunch of people. And in that, there's hot coals, water is thrown out, it's pitch black. You literally can't see your hand in front of you while chanting is going on. And there's 3 rituals that you go through. And in one of those rituals, I, in my mind, brought my mother down. And I literally said, if I were you, given the situation, yada, 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 I would have made the same choices. So if I'm honest, that given the circumstances you were in, looking at it from your perspective, not from my perspective, right? I would have probably made the same choices. So how can I be angry if the choice that you made is the same choice that I would have made? So I ask you guys, in your life, if who you're holding a grudge against, if you step back and look at the situation, for those who you're ready to forgive, from their point of view, how would you have responded? How would you have reacted? Be honest with yourself and then let it go. It was the best experience to have let that go and be done with any of those feelings for the rest of my life was fantastic. I'm not carrying that load. I've lost 20 pounds in that dumping alone, right? I am clearer and able to see things as they are, not see them through the filter of abandonment. So that's one of the things of focus is we're clearing our filters, right? So we can be sure that the reality that we're looking at is the reality of the moment, and we release the residuals of emotions or beliefs from our past that currently are clouding how we see things, because we want to be sure the 750 bits of information that we bring in are pure and clear and concise, because we're making decisions based on our interpretation of that 750 bits of information. We want to be the best interpreters there are. And that, my folks, is the end of Module 1. Please do your homework, because tomorrow I'm going to ask you a little bit about how that felt and how that went. I'm going to be also putting this on my Facebook site. So if you are there and you see this and you do the homework, oh, please, please, please do comment. I would love to hear what you have to say. Guys, tomorrow, Module 2. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.